To the channel. My name is Brad and this is Supercoach Pro. So this week's score was 2,328, moved up 252 spots, now into ranking 840. I have been a season high of about 339 about 2 weeks ago, so hoping to crack back into that top 300 in the next week or so. So we'll have a look in my side. Now, just an interesting note on my side, I did say I was going to bring in Heaney and Waitman. However, I did go in for a surgery on Friday evening, I think it was, or Friday afternoon, and I made some trades that are actually trades you wouldn't have expected me to make. I still went with Waitman, didn't put him on field, but I actually brought in a guy who I've been speaking about lately in my videos who I haven't rated that highly, surprisingly, and for some reason I brought him in. Now, I'm going to blame the medication on this one because I remember looking at my side thinking I really need a primo midfielder, and I was still quite high in the sky post-surgery. And I looked at Steele's fixture and I thought, oh yeah, he's got North Melbourne and he's got Adelaide. I might as well bring him in. Anyway, I kind of thought that was a dream, really hard to explain. And then I was watching the game, Western Bulldogs and Melbourne on the Friday night after my surgery, and realised it wasn't a dream, that I'd actually put Steele in my team and I actually made him captain. So that was a real surprise. Anyway, we'll get stuck into the side. So Mills 117, really solid in the back line. I think he had the 25 disposals and still scored 117, which is really solid. Laird was disappointing. He had a really good half. I think he scored about 80 by half time, and then Richmond sort of dominated the last half, so he sort of faded out of the game. So that's disappointing from Laird, but he's been so solid so far. Now, Tommy Stewart, back to his absolute best, 119. I think that's his first ton in about 3 or 4 weeks now. So that was really solid from him. Jaden Short, 106, really solid game. Really happy he bounced back because everyone has been sort of writing him off in the last few weeks. Now, Ridley, if you bought him in a couple of weeks ago for his 480 price or even last week, it's still not bad value. However, I'm not sure we're going to get those same scores because of Redmond and Laverty down back at Essendon. So, yeah, I think he's a bit of a fake primo. I'm not saying jump off, but I'm a bit sceptical of this pick at the moment, and I'm not sure how he's going to go for the rest of the season. Lockie Jones, I watched that last game of the round. He was really impressive against Fremantle. He was sort of everywhere. Him and Darcy Byrne-Jones look the same with their bloody mullets, so I kept getting confused who was who for a second. But 80 is really solid. That's his best score so far. Kaczynski, I had the chance to loophole this score, and obviously I wasn't going to take 29 points, so I didn't put Chapman on field. McRae is so solid again. If you're vice captain, you would have been happy about McRae. I actually didn't think him or Oliver would score that high, as I did say in my preview video leading into round 11. But yeah, super impressive. Jack Steele's the interesting one. I brought him in this week. I haven't rated him, but I must have just looked at his fixture because that's the only thing I can really think of that's appealing to him. He's got Sydney, Adelaide, Richmond, Collingwood. So I reckon that's why I brought him in. And to even have the guts to make him my captain is something else too. So, yeah, that was really super left field. I don't know if it was super last minute, but Friday and Saturday were pretty much a blur for me. Anyway, Josh Kelly, really solid. He's had a real solid month now. He looks to be back in the midfield, but with Toby Green coming back after their bye, I hope he doesn't go back forward because, yeah, that would really affect his score again. But he's been really solid the last month. Sammy Walsh, a bit of a quiet game today because the Swans had the ascendancy in the midfield with the likes of Mills and other players. So look, his low games are going to be that 90. That's fine with me. Merritt's a little bit annoying sometimes because he had 37 touches and only scored 119, sort of like that Tom Mitchell. They need high numbers to get a really high score. And it's not as effective as a guy like Jack Steele who only had 25 touches, but he had 12 tackles to go with it. So that's the sort of difference. Brayshaw, 81. Look, I'm not too mad at this pick. I did pick him up for 479k and he's given me two 120s and a 70 and an 80 and a missed the game. So he's sort of been, yeah, not bad pick, but he could be better. He'll definitely be M8 for the rest of the season. Dustin Martin, obviously I moved into my midfield this week just on my structure. Scored a 95. Now, I'm a little bit concerned because I do follow Richmond and he just looks a little bit injured and a little bit rusty. Dusty looking rusty. Look, he's going to probably average 95 for the season. You'll take that at 425, that what I paid him for, so that's not too bad. Brockman was on field because I loopholed his score for Jordan and took Jordan's 85 as opposed to running the risk with Dawkins. So Dawkins scored 56. You'll take that. McRae came on as a sub, so super unlucky if you used him as a loophole, because I saw that someone did on one of the pages and they scored 12 for the captaincy option, which is quite funny. Anyway, going into the rucks, Hickey didn't play, so I had to have Flynn as my emergency, who scored 51. Grundy, 76, I had him as vice captain. Probably would have captained him if he had have scored 120 and didn't come off with a nerve injury to the neck or something like that. I reckon he should be right for next week. I'm not a doctor, but I do reckon he'll come back and play. Zorko was fantastic on the weekend. I read he had 35 touches and 2 goals, so that's amazing. Bought him for 492k, I believe, so it's been a real steal for me. Zeeble 104. Hall has had 120 for the last month or so now. He's been pretty consistent, so I'm really happy with that score. Impey has had another bad game of 62, so it's a little bit disappointing. Warner 63, that's pretty standard from him this time of year. He's been like that throughout the season. 66 for Poulter. I rolled the wrist there. I wanted to get every point I could this week to bounce back from last week, so I gained an extra 13 points. Waitman still scored decent 53, and McCready, he's still got that calf injury. So, this is going to be a big week for our trades because obviously it's the bye week, so it's only best of 18. Now, I'm moving house on the Friday, so if my trade isn't as accurate as what I say it is on the Thursday night, I do apologise again because last week I did say I was going to do Heaney and Waitman, but for other reasons I obviously went Steele and Waitman. But I reckon I will bring in Heaney this week because he was my trade calculations. And he had another solid week. I think he scored about 128. Anyway, that was the main goal, was to get back into top 1,000. I've got 300k in the bank. Hopefully you guys had a really solid week. Hopefully you guys are getting close into that top 1% because that's where you want to be aiming before the buys. And have a good week coming up. And I'll catch you guys on the Thursday preview.